Marco was going to.
He said he was basically melting.
Pregame.tv breaking down the NFC North. Scott wins. Scott Spreitzer and I am merely Steve Fezzik. We're going to do some quick hitters talking about all these teams. The Vikings, they sucked last year. Scott, they're going to suck again.
They're going to suck again. This whole thing about Castle and Bridgewater. I like these two quarterbacks for a couple of different reasons. Matt Castle, you got a guy who is a very good NFL backup quarterback. He's a guy you can rely on. If your quarterback gets hurt, you bring him into the game. I just don't trust him as a starter. As far as Bridgewater is concerned, I thought he was horrible in week one. Maybe that's being a little bit too mean, but the folks who really like Bridgewater, I completely disagreed with. I thought he came out and had a fantastic performance in week two, not just because he completed about 80% of his passes, but because of the way he read the opposing defense against Arizona, the little defense they played. But he read it well pre-snap. He knew what was coming at him. He knew what they were doing when they started moving parallel to the line of scrimmage. That's what I liked about Bridgewater. But still, it's a team that's going to go through some serious growing pains, like the new coach, but growing pains this year.
Yeah, Zimmer was a stud with the Bengals defensive coordinator. They opened up at 6.5, down to 6, now heading back up to 6.5. Sounds like you'd lean under 6.
Yeah, if it gets to 6.5, I'm going under.
I think it will get there. Detroit Lions will go progressively up. Jim Caldwell comes in. Lots of talent, bunch of knucklehead idiots for the Lions, always underachieving. Season wins 8.5. They're betting under. The public got the right idea.
Well,
the Sharps are betting under.
Yeah, I agree with the Sharps on betting the under. I took a lot of heat on Detroit in the last month. Whenever we talk about them on radio on First Preview, I get a lot of heat, a lot of text messages coming in from people listening that I guess are Lions fans that keep talking that I'm bagging on the Lions. But I like the front seven on defense, Steve. I don't like the back four. I don't like the way they are in the secondary. I don't know that Caldwell can take Stafford, who's a very talented guy, but take him to that next level and making him a playoff winner. I don't know that he can do that. And until I see it, it's kind of like the proof is in the pudding. I got to see it before I can jump on board. They bring in Golden Tate. He's okay. He's supposed to help out and take some of the pressure off of Megatron. Again, I know Golden Tate had a couple of good, games along the way so far, but I'm still not going to jump in on him yet in the Detroit system of things. So I'm with the Sharps. I don't know about you, but I agree with looking at the under when it comes to the Lions.
It's going to be fun watching Reggie Bush and
what has he got left?
Yeah. Efron, and I think Bush is.
Do you agree with Efron being drafted as early as he was? That kind of, and he's struggled in the camp and preseason.
Yeah, because I want to bet against the Lions.
Well, there you go.
I want to bet the game's over. So
what does it matter to you, right? As long as you're making money off it.
It really is true. I am like I am just a mercenary, Scott. People say, "What's your favorite team?" I hate them all. I hate them all. They've all cost me money from time to time over the course of the season. I hate Caldwell as a coach. Peyton Manning only wins 10 games with them healthy for an entire year. So I'm with you. Detroit under. We're 2 for 2 as far as agreeing. Let's go to the Chicago Bears. A little more complicated here. Terrible defense last year. Mark Trestman comes in from the CFL. It was their year to win the division because Detroit fell on their face and Rodgers was out half the year. They still didn't get it done, but they should be better maybe this year. What do you think?
I love Trestman. I thought it was a great hire when it happened last year. I was a fan of his because he made me money in the CFL with the Montreal Alouettes. And he probably had a better quarterback with Montreal, Anthony Calvillo. I'm just kidding, than Jay Cutler. I know one thing he had out of Calvillo instead of Cutler is an attitude that was better when he was coaching in the CFL. So Jay Cutler has got to be able to get it together between the years, Steve. I know you're not a big Cutler fan. Clausen, Palmer, good backups. You can't rely on either one to get you a lot of wins. The offense, though, is incredible. It's going to be lights out fireworks more weeks than not when it comes to the offense. Still not sold on the defense. I don't want to take a lot out of one game in preseason football, but we talked about this on another video and on radio. When I looked at what happened against Jacksonville, an interior offensive line that has some problems at center in week 2 of preseason, and I saw that Chicago had to sell out with the regulars on the field, even though they didn't have all 11 out there. Most of their key players were on the field on defense. They had to sell out to put pressure on Chad Henne. That's a warning sign. A lot of overs. I like the way they're heading. My lean is over on the win total.
Very good. I think it's over 8.5. They've been betting it up. It's minus 140. I have not seen a 9 yet, so you can still go at it there. Let's go to the cream of the crop. Green Bay Packers bounce back year, 8-7-1 last year after a run of 3 great years, including 1 Super Bowl title. Is the Pack back?
Well, I like the fact that they made a couple of nice additions on the defensive side of the football. I think that's going to help out. Keeping Aaron Rodgers healthy obviously helps out. And again, I've asked this before. End of the season or end of a game, no matter what time of the season, when you're looking at this particular division, who do you want? You want Aaron Rodgers? You want Jay Cutler? You want Castle or Teddy Bridgewater? You want Stafford? I'll take Aaron Rodgers every time. Eddie Lacy was a nice surprise. he's going to make this offense even better this year. But I'm going to throw this at you because I know you got some pretty big thoughts on the Green Bay Packers this year.
Yeah, real quick before I make this official. Last year, Packers Super Bowl champions. The next year, they're 15-1. They're a 9-point favorite at home. They lose to Green Bay. And they had a weak defense, relatively speaking. They still won 15 games.
Sure.
I know they lost a game, but they're laying 9 to the Super Bowl champions. Yep. The following year, they go 11-5. Should have been 12-4. Golden State, the aforementioned one.
Golden State.
Golden State. I don't know what the right segue is. I'm trying to think of, I did have chicken curry last night. Green Bay should have won. The replacement refs cheated them 12-4. And they should have been 12-4. And then I still remember the playoff game. They go to San Francisco, and they're getting 3 points. And everyone's analysis says, I will take Aaron Rodgers +3 against Colin Kaepernick. Well, that didn't work out. But the point is that they were still getting 3 against that Super Bowl Niner team. So the feeling was those two teams were equivalent. This past year, they lost at San Francisco. They should have won their next 6 games. They lost at the Bengals. They're up 9. Aaron Rodgers threw an un-Aaron Rodgers-like interception at the end of the game. And then they fumble going in, and the Bengals get a fumble 6 for 70 yards, steal the game. 2 weeks later, they go to Baltimore. They destroy Baltimore. They're up 19-3. They win 19-17. And so they're playing the Bears. They're home Monday night. They're going to kill the Bears, and Rodgers goes down, and with it goes their season. They still wind up winning the division with Tolzien and Seneca Wallace and a bunch of other total losers. Take that data. Take that data, all you stat guys with, sorry, Teddy Covers. I know you disagree with me, but I'm right. You might be right on the other 31 teams, but I'm right on this team. You take all that data and the average yards per play, you throw that in the garbage can, my friend. Take the 4 years worth of data with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. This team is every bit as good as Seattle, every bit as good as San Francisco, every bit as good as Denver. We're going to ride with the Packers. We're going to play them over 10.5. I think you can still easily get plus money, like plus $1.10 on that. I hear people say, you play more minuses than pluses, Steve. So here's a plus you can get down on. I expect the Packers, they are a 12-win team.
They're a 12-win team. I didn't know Teddy was looking at the other side, at the under in win totals when it came to Green Bay.
Well, he did back in July. I listened to a podcast
a couple of months
July,
ago.
so he probably has changed.
As far as this team, though, man, they keep Rodgers healthy. They are a 12-win team, and I looked at the second half of the schedule. If they're not 7-1 after those 8 games, second half of the schedule, then there's a major disappointment. Aaron Rodgers has been hurt along the way. So I agree with you, 12 wins at least.
Very good. Let me make it official.
Okay.
Kind of already did.
I was going to say.
Yeah, we'll make it official one more time. So we're going with the Packers to go over the 8.5. Over 8.5. I like to make it a lot easier to win.
I like that.
They won 8.5 games last year. They're going to go over the 10.5 this year. Another thing I've noticed, like in games of the year, the Packers are pretty darn cheap. You can get them like -1.5 against the Detroit Lions. And so you could find some value here locally. Cantor Gaming, CGT Technologies now has every game lined on games of the year, and there's some real nice bargains to be had. Another tip I'm going to give out there is that I've been fading the Cowboys like crazy. You can still find lines. I just bet the Bears Cowboys game, I believe the Bears +3. So you're seeing a lot of lines like that are just crazy off on these teams still as the market slowly, it's almost like, well, the market moves on the season win number and then it starts moving on all the individual games. So that's a betting tip for those who are here locally in Vegas, and those have popped up in faraway places as well. But bottom line, very bullish. Green Bay Packers, you're 2014 NFL champs.
Good stuff. NFL champs. I like that.
Why not?
Yep.